Good morning. This is our first morning out in George Washington Jefferson National Forest. And we had a very, very nice morning wake up with the sunrise. So, just gonna do my morning thing, get knocks up, adjust the stabilizers a little bit, and then I gotta get to work. It's gonna be a nice warm day, 75 degrees today. Looks like there's only one other family or resident, whatever you want to call, that's in our area. There's like the loop that we're on, and then there's this straightaway here up here, and so there's a camp post. It's at one of the intersections, and then we pass by one other person. I wonder if there's one other person after that. So maybe it's three of us. Otherwise, this place is empty. End of the season is November 1st, and we are at the very tail end of October. We're staying until the very end, until they close it down. And it seems like just gorgeous. Just like look at all this, like the mist coming through the trees and everything. It's so pretty, so quiet. It's much different than parking lots and whatnot we were staying in. It's so nice. Back home we live in the woods, and it's very nice there as well, but it's just nice to go somewhere else and see other things, not feel like you're always stuck at home, even though we love where we live. Oh, bud.
Constructed by
Just taking our evening dog walk. This is a nice little trail off the campground, and it's supposed to be heading to a lake. In fact, I see the lake over there. Oh, there it is. Today, we've been having low solar gain at the campsite, so I had to bring the van down here to the dam and basically sit in the sun in the parking lot. And it's kind of the one sunny spot that I found that's close to the campsite where I can get enough cellular to work. Val wouldn't be able to, so she's still back at the camper. But but basically between things running and building and doing whatever on my work, I've been going back and forth 5 minutes or so to between here and the camper, and basically delivering loads of electricity. I come out here, I charge, get the battery full, and then go back and then put it all into the camper, and it works great. The problem is that the charging and the discharging on the battery is happening very quickly. I think it's because the battery's old. It's been through a lot of freeze thaw out in the garage, so I think it needs to be replaced. But I don't really want to do that right now. It's it's kind of expensive. So we'll just kind of make do with this how it is. We basically got to get through this week, and then we'll probably do. I want to go to an RV park with services to fully top the battery off in the camper, and then we'll go to wherever next week, and that'll be a whole different set of challenges. So it's working for now, and I did my last run and finishing my work day in probably an hour or two, and then I will I gotta run and get some gas because we're actually pretty low on gas, and then head back to the camper and have dinner and do something for the evening. I don't know, probably another short walk just like last night. you know, workday nights are not a lot of free time, so not a whole lot of adventuring that can happen. So. We were definitely out in the middle of nowhere. I just went to get gas because we were really low, and it's $5 a gallon, which I know is normal right now for some parts of the country, but around here it's normally like $3.50-ish, something like that. The gas station didn't have a credit card at the, you couldn't put in your credit cards. You had to pay at the register, which I love, and yeah, some other signage that made me feel right at home. But yeah, so we're out in the middle of nowhere, for sure, and headed back now to the campsite. Where hopefully Val I think she might probably be done making dinner by now. But yeah, gonna probably go for some walk this evening or something and just relax. Stop driving back and forth between the dam and the camper, charging things. It's the next morning. And today we are trying out something different because of our solar gain issues. The battery in the van isn't super, it's kind of old, I think, and it's having a hard time like getting a lot of amp hours in it. The voltage goes up and down the full distance, but it just doesn't seem to last. So what we're trying to do today is work in the van, off of the battery, off of the solar, and then at the end of the day go back and refill the camper with the excess, which should be more than sufficient to get us through the night and then some. So it should be a net plus for the camper, I hope. So yeah, so we drove the van to this location here. It's a very nice little pretty overlook right on the side of the road. It's like this intersection here. And we will see how it is for both of us to work in the same van. And this is also like a, precursor test to maybe someday downsizing to just the van, which will make us more mobile. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. And today's also a late day for Val. She's got to work late. So that means that we won't get back to make dinner until 6:30, starting 6:30. So it'll be a simple meal tonight. And yeah, that's it. I'd say that went pretty well for the work day. It was nice to be able to come back to the camper and be in different surroundings, or at least the campsite. I don't know if we were to do this just in the van, like what it would be like to just be coming back to move the van. I don't know. Anyway, I came back and the ants are here from the maple syrup, and I discovered that we actually left a little bit down there that I'm going to clean up now. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a little bit of a shine there. Yeah, there we go. That's maple syrup. So I gotta get it along this edge. There's a bunch of it, so. We missed a spot. Yuck. Okay, Knox, let's turn around. Let's go back to the van. So last night, we switched out the batteries a little bit. So I think I mentioned that we're bringing the van, driving it to a sunny spot to work for the day, and then driving back to recharge the camper. Problem is that battery that was in the van, it's older and it doesn't hold a good charge, so it's not getting enough power into the camper to kind of recharge it well. Now the original plan with this whole situation was just to have the 400 amp hours of battery power, which is what we've been living off of before we started, doing the traveling, and it was sufficient. So what we did was we took one of the batteries that was in the camper, so 200 amp hour lithium, and we took that and put it in the van, and now we're just kind of toting around the AGM battery. It's just sort of in the camper. It's not connected to anything because you can't mix lithium and AGM. So what the hope is is that, so number one, I was able to flip on the inverter, the DC to DC converter, and charge the camper battery from the van battery, and it ran for a long time, and even by the time it was done running, because I had to go to bed, it still had plenty of juice that it could have dumped over there. So that's good. It's not just like flip it on for a half hour and suddenly the battery's dead. So what we're hoping is that today we'll get a big amount of solar gain, because it's going to be, you know, bright and sunny. There's some clouds right now, but they're supposed to clear out. And so we should get a whole bunch of solar into that battery now in the van, be able to dump that into the camper, and then over time, you know, if we have sunny days, we should actually gain power and be able to be not needing to get anything from the from the trailer parks and whatnot. Another thing that was interesting is with the DC to DC converter, now that it's hooked into the good battery and all that, you can see the amps that are coming out of the battery and the amps that are going into the battery, the other battery. And supposedly the DC to DC converter is 90% efficient. That's nonsense. So, and this is not a wire sizing issue, because I ended up trying some very large wires relative to what I was using, and that didn't solve it. So the DC to DC converter is pulling, I think it was like 26 amps approximately. It's a 20 amp converter. It's inserting 17 amps. So we're losing 9 amps in the transfer. Now, the wires that I traded out were the ones going from the battery to the DC to DC converter, which, if it's a 20 amp converter and it's sensing how much it's pulling in and pushing out, I would think as long as that pathway is resistant free, it should be able to draw 20 amps. I can understand from the converter to the camper battery losing some, because those wires are much longer and they're still only 10 gauge. But 10 gauge is supposed to be able to transmit 30 amps, so that should be sufficient as well. So, but at least I can see a reason why the intake might be less than 20. So like that, you know, that 4 or 3 amp difference, I can accept that. It's the draw that doesn't make any sense. And you know, I've talked to Renogy about other issues in the past, and they don't want to hear it. So Energy has some nice things, like the ability to see that, you know, your amperage and all that remotely is good, and the voltage remotely is good. But I don't know about the actual quality of certain aspects of their products. I'm kind of locked in at the moment, but you know, if I ever were to buy things in the future, I think I'd try something else. But you never find anything else. It's just, you know, they're like the leader, and they have all the nice things. Hopefully other people will catch up. We'll see. This is working out much better. So I just came back to the camper, and we are at 100% now on this battery. So we are able to fully, you know, take all that and just dump it right into the trailer with the connection there and the switch. And yeah, way better system using this battery instead of that other one. Alright, this is one of these wonderful shitty things that happens in the middle of the night when you discover that your gray tank is falling off. Can I get light in there? Yeah. So there's one bracket that I took off because it was just hanging off. And there's one that's just gone. The other one is falling off, which you might be able to see. Yeah, so basically the whole tank was hanging down because the whole side's unsupported, and it started leaking because it was tipped, and it looks like the vent is still attached. I looked at it before I jacked it back up. I jacked it up because it was actually stuck on some piece of metal, which I don't really know why this piece of metal is there. that one. If anybody knows why, let me know. Wasn't attached to anything. But yeah, so let me show you this piece of junk. Where is it? So this was screwed into wood, and it's like particle board wood. There's just one screw. There's a bunch of holes, but only one screw. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to screw this back in, and then attach another screw there, another screw there, to hold it and give it more strength. And then at some point, we got to, hopefully on this next leg out, towards our next area we're going to be living, is I need to get another bracket to replace that one. So yeah, that's what's going on. This is a lovely evening of repair work. Last night it was the batteries, which wasn't so bad. Now it's the gray tank, which sucks. Especially because I just got splashed earlier with clean out water from the hose, which is just putting me in a wonderful mood. Alrighty, adios. Okay, so here's what's happening. I looked at the tank, and I don't remember what I showed, but basically we can't reattach those brackets because the wood is rotted out, and there's no other wood other than just where the screws were. So I don't even know if it might actually be rotted out, but it's this cheap particle board stuff. So just over time, the weight has just destroyed it. And I looked around at the holders on the other side of the gray tank, and they're all destroyed too. Nothing is holding that gray tank up other than the plumbing. So that's a problem. So what we're going to do tomorrow is we're going to go into the nearest town, and we're going to go, there's a lumber yard, we're going to get some pressure treated wood, and we're going to make a 3-inch by 18-inch kind of channel. Oh, I got to figure out how high that needs to be. Yeah, 3 inches wide, 18 inches long. I got to figure out the height. But yeah, we're going to make it like a support. And I'm going to drill through the metal, have some metal drills, and screw it in so it's attached to the I-beam, and then the wood attached to the I-beam, holding up the gray tanks, but it'll only be on the sides. So like the very far to the left, very far to the right, the middle will be unsupported. So I don't know how much, if it's going to be able to hold a full tank or not. We'll have to keep an eye on it as we go. So that's the short term. Long term, that thing is a piece of junk. I mean, it is an absolute piece of junk. We knew it was a piece of junk when we bought it. The floor was rotted out in one spot. I had to kind of patch that. It cost us around $4,500 for that thing, which is excessively cheap for a trailer. So, it was a great deal. It lasted 6 months. We've been living in it. Now a little bit longer now. But we live in it for 6 months. So if you think of that as like rent, it's not bad. In terms of value, and we're going to still be living in it and using it once we do this temporary patch on the gray tank. Now, there's a sag in the floor that we're both very concerned about, or a little concerned about. It's going to keep getting worse. Other problems are going to keep happening with this thing because it is old, and like for a trailer, it's old, over 10 years old, and it's just garbage. And so we were trying to figure out what are we going to do going forward. So we decided tonight, and things subject to change, but I feel like we're pretty set on this. We're going to get the van to the point where we can live in it without the trailer. But yeah, so that's what's happening. That's the story. And I gotta go take a shower because I still have that water splashed on me from when we were emptying or hosing off the gray tank thing. So I'm going to go do that, and then tomorrow start the day with a normal work day, and then in the evening we'll be trying to hit the lumber yard, and yeah, that'll be that. We are in Covington, I think is the name, Covington, Virginia, which is a mill town. You got a paper mill. I passed by, spewing out steam, and kind of disgusting if you ask me, but for my wife, it's like nostalgia. She's back home. You know? But anyway, so we are here because there's a lumber mill, you know, like a hardware store, and we need to get that wood. We're gonna get some pressure treated wood to shore up the gray tank, and yeah, that's why we're here. We're gonna have some pizza tonight after work, and it's cold. It was below freezing when we got here. We finally remembered to check the thermometer, and last night, you know, no heat in the van right now, so it was very cold. But we were starting to explore, you know, how we're gonna be converting this van in terms of like what kind of heater we're gonna use and stuff like that. So that'll be interesting, an ongoing process. But I think this weekend and for the rest of today and whatnot, it's just gonna get the gray tank propped up and then make it so that we can have, you know, normal, quote unquote, like what we've been doing the past week or so. So no interesting build stuff gonna happen in the next few days. See that place, Coochie's in Covington, Virginia? Really, really, really good pizza. This is like Sbarro's level. It's definitely New York style. Very glad we came here. Val picked this. You lucked out. Very good.